If I ask each of you to imagine sending your 20-year-old son, a Marine, to Iraq, most parents would wince at the thought, even as you felt pride in your son, the Marine. Then if I asked you to imagine that that son would never come home, it would be your worst nightmare. But after those heart-wrenching things happened, as you were burying your son, fanatics loudly protested his funeral with profane slurs and degrading signs. That's what happened to Al Snyder after his son Matthew gave his life for his country 4 years ago. We all know that's vile, it's evil, but a court in our great country has said fanatics, these extremists, had a right to ruin the only funeral the Snyders will ever have for their son Matthew. And there's nothing that can be done about it. But they didn't stop there. They asked Al and his family, who had already lost so much, their son, to pay legal fees to these fanatics. The Snyders were robbed not only of their son, their brother, but of the chance to say goodbye in a solemn and dignified way. And they don't want any other parents to have to go through this. So that's why today there will be filed an amicus curiae brief, which is a friend of the court brief, with the United States Supreme Court. And it's why senators, Democrats and Republicans alike, have joined me in this effort. This brief simply says that just as the Constitution guarantees our rights to free speech, and just as the Supreme Court has protected our right to privacy, a private family funeral is a similar basic right.
We suggest to the court that the Court of Appeals applied the wrong standard in treating this as a defamation of a public figure case. This is a case about a private family whose moment of grief has been hijacked by others.
The day my son's body came back from Iraq, these people posted on their internet, sent out flyers to the media, a flyer with my son's picture on it, and a military coffin, and underneath of it, it said burial of an ass. Then it went on to proceed that they would be protesting at St. John's Catholic dog kennel. This was the day my son's body came back from Iraq. The day of the funeral, 7 of them showed up. They positioned themselves within 30 feet of the main vehicle entrance of the church and went as far as to hold a sign depicting 2 men having anal intercourse. 4 weeks after the funeral, they went online and accused me of raising Matt for the devil, teaching him adultery, just vicious lies. And the sad part is they've done this to over 200 families. Matt was not gay, nor that would matter. I would have loved him and supported him just as much if he was. Nobody deserves to be buried like this.
There is no do-over of the solemn ceremonies of military funerals, where the bereaved family member and friends have the sacred right to feel and share their grief in peace and togetherness nurtured by their faith. Their right to privacy and their expression of grief and remembrance must be respected. The First Amendment is not written to trump their rights to privacy and peaceful ceremony at the closure of a life.
I absolutely refuse to believe that the Founding Fathers intended for the Freedom of Speech Clause to be used as both a spear and a shield at the same time.
It's not about some general statement of philosophy or opposition to a government policy. It's about vicious and reprehensible personal attacks on individual service members and their families. The actions that are the subject of this suit are in violation of the law. This isn't some philosophical exercise. It's about upholding the simple human dignity of men and women who've forfeited their lives for the rest of us, and about protecting the rights of their families to privately mourn their loss.
One of the prime responsibilities that I have, and that I believe national legislators have, is to provide for the common defense. That's in our Constitution. We do that through brave men and women who serve in our military, and we have a responsibility to take care of them in the best way we can to make sure that their service to the country is profound, and we respect that. A part of that responsibility goes to the fact that, as we've outlined here, 1 million of our men and women have died defending their country. I think the very least we can do is provide that at a time of mourning, that's respected. That's what this case is all about.